Good evening. This is Spirit Journey, and I want to talk to you about men and my experience today with regard to uh, two men that I met today. And I feel this experience it's like, I feel like I'm being tested. You ever go through things when you were younger and you say, I used to think this way, and now I don't think that way anymore, or now I'm not into that anymore. And then as an adult, it's represented itself. And that's how I feel. It's like, let's see how you really feel. Let's see what you do. Because in life, it's not so much what you think, because we all could think. It's what you do. So let me tell you, well, today was a beautiful day in New York City. I had my dogs with me, and we head to Central Park. It was absolutely gorgeous. It was like in the 60s. The sun was out, and it was actually cool breezes. And my dogs, I have one of them here. See that? My dogs seem to like the cooler weather. But it was difficult walking them though. But either way, I get to Central Park, I sit down at a bench and just enjoying life. Then a man comes over, and he was 72 or 74 years old, Caucasian, and he interjected something about the dogs, and he wanted to just talk. So I said to myself, okay, I don't mind just talking. But something in my mind, I guess, something that I like to talk, as you could see. And I don't mind talking to people in general. But I felt like in the back of my mind, because how friendly he was acting, he was very cordial. And I said to myself, I don't want to be involved with this person, just something. And so, he proceeds, on talking. And then one conversation led to another new conversation. And he had said to me, say, you look Ethiopian. Are you Ethiopian by chance? And I said, nope. I'm a Caribbean girl. I'm 100% Caribbean. I am not from that part of the world. And, I've heard that before. And, I don't like it. I don't like to be asked if I'm Ethiopian. I get that from black men and white men. And why I don't like it, there's nothing wrong being Ethiopian, but I feel it's almost like, it's obvious I'm someone of black heritage, and that's all they need to know. It's either you're black or white. So I don't like it because I feel that it's like, they don't want to just ask you, oh, are you black, whatever, but it's like they're complimenting you, saying that you look Ethiopian. So that's why I think I don't like it, because I feel that I don't think they really think I'm Ethiopian. I have been asked if I met someone, he was a Palestinian, and that's how he classified himself. And I actually thought he was an East Indian, because his skin was very, very dark, and he had an accent that I didn't know. And he asked me, but I figure, someone over there, I could understand someone from that part of Asia or the Middle East to ask if I were Ethiopian. But in general, if you're just a regular, North American, I don't like it. And I see why. Let me explain to you why more in detail. That my growing up, I had very, very low self-esteem. I didn't like the person in the mirror. I hated everything about me, and I wanted to always be someone else but myself. And my current videos reflect that. When I see that in other people, that you want to be someone else but the person in the mirror. And I mean, it's okay to be of any nationality, race, whatever. Be you. So my growing up feeling this way, and then life had showed me that I need to appreciate myself, and that there is no perfection in those people that you used to worship, and that I used to worship the white culture by my attitude, that if it was something white or European, that had to be good. And even if it weren't good, the fact that it is that's what makes it good. And I realized that I was socially brainwashed to believe that certain races or location and things like that was due to racism, colorism, and I hate it. And what was really happening to me back then, it's like it was reinforcing my not liking myself, not appreciating or seeking out African culture, Afro-Caribbean culture, or African-American culture, and appreciating those people and what they have to offer in life. And now, as an adult, I see a lot of things within the Black community is being stolen from the culture, and people are profiting off of our culture. And I said, wow, look at this. Here, this is made by an American Black or a West Indian Black, and yet all these other groups are tapping in and profiting, but we're not profiting. And so I said, hey, we're not valuing our culture. And if you don't value it, you're going to have thieves, and they're going to take it, make money, but then curse you. And so through my life, I started to, I started to see, I observe a lot of things. Growing up, I was very, very, very shy. I didn't talk to people that much, especially people older than me. I was very shy, but I like to watch and listen and observe social interactions, and that's how I learned about a lot of stuff. By what you see, what are your experiences, and what are the interactions that you see amongst people, and that's where I learned a lot of my colorism, racism, and how Blacks are taught not to like themselves and not to like their hair. And you notice back then, when I was growing up, Black people really didn't really fix their hairs as pretty as you see some of them do it now. Back then, they weren't taught to like their hair. Now you have some people in the Caribbean that they can have bushy hair like mine, or even tighter curly hair, and they learn how to style it nice. But here in the U.S., we weren't taught to really know how to take care of our hair, because we didn't control the hair industry, even the beauty schools. It wasn't run by us. At least in New York City, it's run by Italians. Many of them had the shops, like the school. I had initially gone to a beauty school to get my license in it. I didn't complete it. But what they look for in these beauty schools, they look for a couple, a husband and wife team. And this team, the husband was, I think it was Sicilian, I actually thought he was an East Indian when I first met him, and his wife was an Ashkenazi Jew. And the school had told me when they left the industry or something, they were looking for another couple. They said preferably another couple to replace them, you know. But they did well. The husband in particular, he had a beauty shop, and he was very anti-black, and just it turned me off. My experiences with him going into his shop. I went to a shop with a friend that lived in the same that town that he had his shop, and that's how I got to go over there. And she was this so-called friend that I had. She was a very light-skinned girl from the islands, the Caribbean, and she was the lightest one. She had like a almost whitish color, and all the others are my color and darker. And I was learning through interactions about colorisms, and that if you were lighter than somebody, that darker person had to carry your stuff. And this was something. And all these things that I was learning through other blacks or West Indian people. And I said, wow, I said, I don't like this. Then I also had friends back then, when I was in my 20s, about the dating scene. And it's like mainstream blacks back then, black women back then, really didn't befriend me. It was two different worlds. I was raised in Queens in a middle class neighborhood, but many blacks that I knew, they were from a different part of town, maybe not as economically viable. But either way, we're still in the same boat, you know. But I guess because how I might have been perceived by them, and maybe how I perceived them, you know. So it wasn't that much interaction. I want to be honest about that. So a lot of the interactions of people of color were foreigners, foreigners from the Caribbean, whether it be Puerto Rico or St. Vincent, places like that I knew them. And then I had friends from East Asia. Those were the people that I had dialogue with. And almost forgot what I was getting at now, what I was going to say. Also with the dating. So it seemed like back then, in the 1980s, that these new friends, again, most of these people were foreign born, and they were relatively new arrivals, and how they were interested in dating white men. And I thought at that time that's what I wanted too. But I was raised with boys. My house is very male dominated. And so part of me felt comfortable. You know, I felt comfortable in talking to men, but at that time I wasn't comfortable with American black men. I was afraid of them growing up because some of the things, because I was molested. I'm going to just put it out there. And I had a false perception that any other nationality or race were safe. And so that was the initially why. But, what was I getting at now? So the friends that I had were female friends that I had then were very much interested in dating white. And they were, let's say, mostly Italians and Jews. And one thing, I remember once I was invited with this one girl. She was Hispanic. She was a brown-skinned Hispanic, my color, and she was from what country? not that, I forget the name of it. It could have been Panama. And she invited me to a club with her. And she was telling me the type of men that she's interested in. But I felt uncomfortable. Even though I was not really into black men back then, and I thought, well, maybe white men might be a safer option, but still I couldn't really get into them. And some girls are just boy crazy, you know what I mean? But I was never like boy crazy. I respect men, but I'm not like, I guess because I'm always around them and I see how they operate. I see how they deal with each other. And, being around boys, you hear everything. So I heard a lot of things. And men in general, regardless of race, nationality, they tell me things. And it's like, don't they realize I'm a girl, but they're telling me these things? So I hear a lot of stuff. So I'm not like boy crazy. And, you think like, oh, the whole world's going to end if you don't get a guy. So, because I saw a lot, and I saw that some of the guys would, cheat on the girl, and they didn't respect them. They can have sex with this one girl and then tomorrow someone else. I'm thinking, man, that you can get a disease, and they don't really respect you. So my mindset was, be careful, because some men could tell you things. They could tell you anything because they want to have sex with you. So I knew I didn't want to get pregnant, and my parents did not want us to have any illegitimate children. So that was always on my mind. I played it safe. And so these girls that I had, that I thought were my friends, they were just more acquaintances. I shouldn't say friends. They were acquaintances from work or college friends, And I felt funny. I felt like how the girls seemed to me were like a prostitute type. I know that's saying, being very strong, but it almost reminded me like a John and the prostitute type of thing, and it's always like the Italian / Jewish man, mafia type. I don't know, construction, and I can't get into that. And the man that I met today was that type of guy. Okay, he's a older man. He's in his 70s, but he's of that same background. I'm sorry, I meant to say Russian. He didn't say what the other part, but he said I have a Russian background. And yes, he looked very Semitic looking. Very, very, fit. He walks and everything. He said like 15 miles a day. He used to be a runner, he told me. And he was in not construction, what you call demolition. Demolition is the opposite. Like that you break down things rather than you building up. And that's what he was into. And so so first he initially asked me about, my ethnicity. And then my mind is going back to when I was like in my 20s, and the type of guy, and how some men think that that's what black women want to hear, that you look like something else. And I feel that this is a way for them to get into your life and think that they're flattering you. And that doesn't flatter me. And in fact, it turns me off. And I think when I first heard that, my mind said, no, I'm not interested, So, I continued talking to him. I said, talking is, nothing wrong of just talking. But in the back of my mind, I'm saying, if this guy asked me for my number, he did ask to go out with me. He asked very politely, whatever. But I said, no, thank you. And then he was trying to cry in front of, oh, you have somebody. I don't like to tell men whether I have someone or not. If I say no, it's no, and I don't have to give a reason. But I just say, yeah. But I just didn't want to go there. And I know of, going back in my earlier days, that I saw a lot of women, a lot of Dominican women, West Indian women, not as many American black women, but in New York City has a lot of people from the Caribbean. And I feel like a lot of these women are just, I don't know, it didn't seem like equal. One of the girls that I know, she did marry him. She married a Jewish man. He's a lawyer. And now this girl, she graduated before I did, and she was going in for her master's at the time, I think, when she met the guy. Yeah, because she had graduated and she was dating this other guy before the one that she actually married. And at that time, with the first guy, she was already taking master's classes, So sometime later, they got married. I had moved out of town, and then I came back, to New York City, and I bumped into the girl, whatever, and she was telling me, that she's married now, and she invited me to her home. And she was telling me that, and I think he was just sitting right there even, at the table, and she was saying, oh, either him or her. Well, either way, the conversation was that she had to complete her master's and go, he was saying that she has to go to an Ivy League school and get the degree from there. So I think she got her degree from Columbia. But I know she was taking a school, she was going somewhere. But it was a good school. There are a lot of good schools in New York City. So she's a self-starter. And so I'm just listening to this guy. And I thought it was something. So she had to be of a certain standard for her to be good enough for him to marry. And I thought, wow, isn't this something? So he's not man enough to marry the girl if she didn't have an Ivy League master's program. She was a working girl. She has her own money. I mean, she wasn't, wealthy, but she could take care of herself. She didn't need him. But it turned me off. And then, I think about so with the guy that I saw today at the park, he mentioned something that the conversation proceeded, and he started telling me about that he had a female friend. And I forget how he worded, whether it's a female friend or girlfriend, but he had someone. And even though, yes, he asked me out, he says, well, he asked me out, and I said, no, thank you for asking, blah, blah. Then that's right, he then started talking about, well, he is with this girl, or he has been seeing this girl, but she's not motivated, she's not I'm not sure if you use the term progressive, but she's not doing anything with her life and blah blah blah. And I've heard that before. Men say that, but they're involved with them, and they're it's just a turnoff. So then I assumed initially that it was a white girl, and then he says, oh, she's Haitian, and she's just taking, I told her she should get the this job that has benefits, and so she can get a pension and blah blah blah. And she had this, she got this job, and then she got fired and blah blah blah. And she's 54 years old. I'm thinking, 54 years old, and he's judging her. And then he says, oh yeah, she's Haitian, she's from Haiti, and she's with her folks or something, family, and if she didn't have her family, and if she had a job, she's just relying on her family, she's not really working hard. What if she were alone? If she were alone, didn't have family, she'll be self-motivated to get another type of job and blah, blah, blah. So I thought, wow, this guy is really tearing into this woman, and he's seeing her and saying not so nice things about her. Then he says, well, she is nice actually. When I was in the hospital, she visited me, and I had this procedure done, and then she came and visited me, blah blah blah. She's a good girl, but she's just blah blah blah. And I'm thinking to myself, I didn't have very good thoughts about the guy, because to me he sounded like an arrogant white guy, and he's judging his life as a white man who he had a business. He's retired now, but he had his own business in the, demolition. And to compare his life with a Haitian woman who's in her 50s. Haiti is the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere, and and a female at that. In the Caribbean, a lot of the women are not married, and they have children, and they rely on each other to help support each other. Their family unit, they have extended families living together. So you have the mother, the grandmother, the children, the aunties, and they're helping each other out. And again, to compare yourself being a white man, and then comparing to a Haitian woman who's in her 50s, that she should be doing this and that. And I'm thinking, you bastard. I was angry. I felt irritated, but I wanted to hear him out. I was curious where the conversation was going to go. And I said to myself, I'm glad that I told this guy no, that I didn't want to go out with him. And then him sharing his thoughts about his current female companion. And I don't want to feel, what I realized from that point, it was manifested, what he was really about, that I felt that he was about being more powerful than the woman that he was with, and everything about him. He was interested in ethnicities. He liked Latin literature. That's all he reads, Latin literature, and to visit those places, and the Caribbean, and how he said third world nations. That's what he likes. So I don't want to be involved with someone like that. I don't want to be involved with someone who sees women of color and, oh, you should improve yourself, that type of thing. If a man who's secure in himself would be secure in a woman who, whether she's wealthy or poor. And the fact that you're talking to a particular woman, there's something about her that you might like. And so if you're man enough, you hold your ground, and you pursue this woman. But if to this man, if you have to be, Ivy League, this and that, the first guy I talked to, the second guy I talked to you about, that I had a female friend from college from way back, and dating this Jewish man, and so she had to be good enough for him. But look at this with Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods, yes, he has an Asian mom, East Asian mom, and the father is an American black of some type. He looks of mixed heritage, but either way, he's classified as a black man, and how he was not selective in the woman that he married. I'm sure his wife that he had has some positive qualities, but she did not have a college degree. She was a nanny. In fact, I remember with Tiger Woods, it was an interview from way back when his father was still alive, and his father spoke a lot on his son's behalf, and something that I think he was in high school or something like that. It was a girl, a white girl, but the parents didn't like her. She was considered too common, and they said you can't go out with her. So it was interesting that he eventually finds someone, and his parents were still alive at the time, and that he married a nanny, a white nanny from Europe. So it seems like some men that, well, in some community, people of color, it seems like you don't have to be really of any social, have a degree or master's or a doctorate, but these men of color will go out with them. I guess her being a woman from Sweden, she is just a regular Swedish girl. She's very attractive, but I guess for her that her physical appearance was a status symbol. It was something that I guess created an illusion of importance. But she was just a girl, a regular girl who had certain physical characteristics. But that was it. But even that wasn't enough. He was cheating on her. So again, good looks could only go so far. And that I feel that with this experience that I had today, that men are always looking around when they're not satisfied with their current relationship, and when they find somebody, they keep who they have, scout around, and once they find something else, then they dump the other one. I say that a real man say, hey, I don't like this relationship, I'm out of it, let me just detox from it and then pursue a new relationship. But so I feel that he was just being sneaky. I'm not really interested in this girl. I'm bored with her. So he should just leave, but he's not. And so it's really shown me that I think as a woman that I should always keep a standard, and that I don't want to compromise myself and feel that I don't want to feel like someone's giving me a handout. I'm not looking for a sugar daddy. And that's one thing that I saw growing up when I was in my 20s, that you saw girls that's all that they seemed to be about, that it was an agreement. Okay, I'll go out with you. Yes, I'm beneath you. Yes, you make more money than I do. And yes, you have more privileges. I'll have sex with you, blah, blah, blah. And then you'll buy me these little trinkets. It's a real turnoff. I don't see those people anymore. And deep down in my mind, my psyche, I said, no, I don't want this for myself. I don't. And I mentioned in a past video, a dark-skinned girl from the Dominican Republic, that's in the Caribbean, and she was also involved with a lawyer. She did not specify what the guy's race was, but I knew the girl's preference. But either way, she had gotten pregnant, and he verbally threatened her to dump her if she didn't have an abortion. And I said to myself, wow, that they really don't like you, that they like your body, they want you sexually, but many of them don't want you to have kids with you. But only if it's a status thing, like this one YouTuber who's married to an East African woman. When he had said initially on the video, when the wife was saying, "Oh, wouldn't it be nice for us to have kids?" and blah blah, he said, "Oh, I hope the kid don't look like you." And I'm like in shock. I was in shock. Now the woman was a knockout, a pretty dark-skinned East African woman, gorgeous. But in my opinion, the guy was nothing hot to look at. Not at all. In fact, she made this show, not him. She should boot him out, and that's just my opinion. But when he said that, and it reaffirmed in me that certain relationships, that some of them may even marry you, or just see you on the side, but they really don't want you. They don't want, you know what I'm saying? He didn't want a black kid. So why are you in this relationship? It's a power thing. That's what I'm getting at in a nutshell. That some of these relationships, it's about dominance and control. And they're not man enough to get someone from their own European ancestry, so they get a step down and get a black person, a West Indian person, a Hispanic person, or an Asian woman. And it's the same thing. And it's like a patronizing, you know? And that's what I pick up with some of these relationships. And instinctively, when I listened to the guy in Central Park, before he even mentioned about his girlfriend, whatever, that he was that type. And it was like a retro in my mind of way back, of the relationships, the acquaintances that I knew, and how a lot of the female friends that I had back then, that's all they wanted. They wanted the status. They wanted the illusion of inclusion of what these white men could do for them. And I said, no. I said, I don't want to look in the mirror and feel like trash or prostitute. So I said no. And so that's why I told the man no. And I feel so good about myself. And I said, lady, you know, I'm talking to ladies, as you know, in this video, or anyone who wants to listen, even guys. Don't compromise yourself. Make your own money. Even if one penny you make a week, you make it honestly, and you go to bed in dignity. You know, don't be doing that. You're not a prostitute, because if you act like that, then you have a slave mentality. Have respect for yourself, for your body, for your culture, okay, and for your history, so that these young girls and boys grow up and say, wow, okay, this lady is this way. She carries herself in dignity. She pays her own bills. Stop using men to pay your bills. That's one thing that always turned me off. Pay your own bills. You know, I know I wouldn't like my brothers to be have females and they leech in and have them pay the bill. I wouldn't like it. I wouldn't want someone to use my brothers, and I don't want to use guys, and I don't like to see girls doing that. But I also don't like guys using girls too. I don't like it. I don't like it. Oh, I almost forgot. So that's what happened at the park. So I started heading back home, and I was on my block, and a man says, there were two men. One was white, the other one was a light-skinned black. And the light-skinned guy said, "Hey, how you doing?" And I looked and he said, "Yeah, you remember me?" And I'm thinking, I said, "I'm afraid I don't know you." He says, "Yeah, you're the lady with the dogs. We had talked, blah, blah, blah." And I'm thinking, I don't know this guy. I don't think I ever met him. And then he takes off his glasses. Like for me, I just assumed maybe he thought, maybe I didn't recognize him because he had sunglasses on. And he had this light, like a whitish, bluish gray eyes, and he had this kind of goofy smile. And I said, I'm afraid I don't know you. But if we did talk before, how's everything? I hope you have a good day. And that's all I said. But what that reminded me of, when he took off his glasses, another incident that happened to me, also around the same time. I was in my 20s, mid-20s, and I was in a very poor neighborhood in Harlem, and it was what type? Like a fast food type of place, I think it was, and it was a light-skinned guy, and he walks up to me, and hey, hi, he was trying to, what you call, rap into me, and he takes off his sunglasses. He has these light green eyes, and he looks stupid. He looked like a weasel with green eyes. And he would say, "Yeah, we treat our women good, and we give them drugs." And he was a pimp. That guy probably was a pimp, and that he's telling. See, again, a lot of men tell me who they really are, but they don't realize what they're saying. Or maybe they do, and they just don't care. He thought I was one of those dumb black women that just want a mongrel for a man with those light eyes that I have to love him now. See, that's whiteism. I don't want whiteism, and I won't go with any guy like that. If you're going to get a so-called whiteism, get a white man, not a wannabe. But see, I don't even want to even go there. I don't even want that. No, I don't want that ism. I don't want a power play or someone to think because they have something, because of a physical attribute, whether it's their eyes, their hair, their wallet. I don't want you. I have my own eyes, my own body, my own wallet, my own me. So you give yourself the power. Don't give those clowns any power. See, he thought he had power over me. There's a lot of foolish black women out there who have low self-esteem, and they want these mongrel type kids. I shouldn't say it like that. I'm a mongrel also. But I say it in the spirit of to think that by you getting into this type of relationship, it's going to so-called better the quality of your potential children. And no, what makes quality children is having a mom and a dad that love each other, who respect themselves, who eats the right type of food, who exercise, play together, work hard together, and have an economic plan of action, and to teach that to your children. And a lot of people don't think of that, because your packaging is just a package, like a purse. A purse is just a container. It's the stuff inside the purse that makes the value, not the outside. Yes, it's nice to have a nice purse, but it's nicer to have stuff inside of it of value. So don't sell yourself cheap. So that's what happened. So I just told the guy, I said, I don't know you, I don't recognize you, but you have a good day. And I left. And my mind was saying, wow, what retro. Two different types of guys that I was exposed to growing up in my early 20s, and how I felt back then and how I feel now is the same way. A turn off. Yeah. So that's all that I have to say, and I hope that you ladies and gentlemen learn something a little bit more about me and about yourselves and about your motives when you meet a man or a woman. Think of the relationship of what you can give into it and stop doing head games. If you like someone, get to know them about you, and share your, want to know about their, share a little bit about yourself in the relationship. That's honest. And it's okay to be a little vulnerable and not be perfect either, but just be careful and don't sell yourself shit. Don't sell yourself cheap. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you learned something today, and for you to reflect about it with regard to your own life and your experiences. So take care and enjoy the rest of your day. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.